We up and recording. Greetings, everybody. This is Wesley Pepper. Welcome to the Lexcia podcast. This is episode 241. I'm dead sure that's the right number. If not, again, obviously I'll put a disclaimer like I do with the others. I don't like to complain every week how I get confused by numbers, but it is what it is. This is episode 241. Yeah. So today we're talking comedy again. We're talking comedy. We're talking to Dave Levinsohn about Comedy in the Park. As you guys know, I covered it a bunch of times. If you check out the last one, I think it was with Mark Banks. Interesting fella, interesting comedy. So Dave, good morning, my brother. You're having your coffee, you all settled down. Greetings, how are you?
Hello, Dr. Pepper. I'm here. Thank you for doing this. I haven't done a podcast for a while, and yesterday I did two. So like I'm in the mood now. Ask me something.
Yeah. You on the they call it now. There's a buzzword for it. They call it the podcast circuit. I kind of like that.
It's been lekker. It's been lekker. So what happens is the other two didn't get it right. So third time lucky. And also this reminds me of lockdown when you had to do this. You had to become good at this. Get it up, get it nice and straight, get a fake background. This isn't really my house. This is one of those Microsoft. I chose single dad background. So that's not even me. That's HP sauce, air fryer. So it's actually, I'm really impressed with how real the AI is. It's actually got here's my chalkboard. It's not even real. It's not a real chalkboard. It's not real.
It looks okay. I'm trying to read what's written on there. 15 August. Whirlwind.
Can you read that?
Yeah, I can read it.
That's not accurate to AI. Is they even know when your gigs are?
Yes, I actually cover AI a lot here. That's another problem, eh? It's another problem.
You must embrace it. You're an artist. If you were living in 1806, would you have bought a Ford?
I don't know. I haven't lived in 1806, so I guess I wouldn't know. But I can tell you what it's doing is that it's changing the game in a major way, whether you like it or not. It's not going anywhere. Total fucking legend. I like the coffee mug.
I'm made it myself.
Total, and a nice big and black. I guess the metaphor is quite loud, actually.
Thank you.
But Dave, let's get into I like to total fucking legend. Dope. I'll actually use that as a short. I like to start like in the beginning. Not necessarily the actual beginning, but just to give people perspective on your comedy. You can just tell us how you got into comedy. And we'll take it from there.
I'll take it a little bit further because a lot of people ask you during these interviews, they'll say, how did you start? Where did it start? Where did it go? And I just remember one function I did, and the event organizer said, what type of comedy do you do? And can you send us some of your jokes on email so we can check them so you can do the function? Are you laughing already?
Like, is that a censorship or what?
You wonder about how much they know about comedy if they're asking you, what type of comedy do you do? Yeah. So now I've figured out I had to actually answer these questions. So when a journalist or someone asks you 20 questions, what type of comedy do you do? I'll often say, well, what type of comedy is there out there? What is there? And then they go, there's slapstick, there's observational, there's dad jokes. So I'm like, yeah. And what if I do a combination of all three? I do a observational dad joke, which is slapstick.
Now what?
My comedy was, now what? So my comedy was based as a kid. I was 5 years old and I was making people laugh. And I just had the ability to do that in church. I could do it at school. I had funny siblings and uncles and aunties and grannies. My gran was hilarious. Very funny wordplay. My grandfather was a smart, funny man. My uncle would tell me about 8 jokes as we arrived at the braai. I'm not even kidding. He would whip off 8 jokes like that. And adult jokes, which were quite smart. You had to You had to be, okay, there's a wordplay, there's something in there. So, and he would never explain the joke to you. You had to sort it out yourself. My mom is hilarious, but has no idea how funny she is. She has no idea. She'll say something funny and she doesn't even know. So, my sister on the other side is very analytical, but also very smart and funny. She'll make sure she sees the funny side of things. But I'm the only one that's done it as a career. Started in 1999 at a weirdly enough, I was a magazine designer, and a guy said, "You write funny captions for all the photos, and we're filming a show. Do you want to come and be in it? Come and do 5 minutes." I ended up doing 25 minutes because I'd grown up with comedy so much. It was almost like finally saw what I need to be doing. You know, painting was good, and graphic design was good, and marketing was good, and advertising agency was fun. But just as I walked on that stage and I started saying stuff, and they laughed, it was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. So that was 27 years ago. I'm old.
Yeah, I think we similar in age there. So like that's interesting, man. So like what I'm like you talking, you asked like what is comedy? This is something I'm very interested in. This is something I've noticed actually over time actually, and this is not just a South African thing. I noticed in the US, even in the UK. Comedians have become philosophers these days, no? They've got political opinions, they've got social political opinions. With the football last week, earlier this month, they were sports. So comedians know everything about everything. What's your take on that?
So I would say you 90% right. Comedians, in order to be a great comedian, you have to have some sort of psychology of humans. Otherwise, you're gonna have something. Read the room. People say it, but to be able to read the room, you have to have a little psychological knowledge of how things are going in the audience. What I find funny is people don't. In the audience, they'll whisper something to their spouse in the front row after you say a joke. They don't know that you can hear them. So the psychology side of it, I think, is very important. You've got to understand where people are, what they're doing, what are they wearing, how old are they, why, what, where, who. So that reading the room is a skill. When you say the comedians are becoming philosophers, there's an old movie called History of the World with Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
It's a 70s movie.
Yeah.
And they've got the Roman times. You know it. In the Roman times, the guy's got he's there and he goes, "For sayers, for sooth, knock, knock, hear thee," and he's doing a joke. And he gets arrested by the cops and he goes, "What do you do for a living?" He goes, "I'm a stand-up philosopher." Like, no, you can't get money for that. You get arrested. And exactly, I think comedians know a little tiny bit about a lot of things. So if you ask me about nuclear warfare, I can tell you how the atoms might split and cause energy release, but that's it. So I'll try and make a joke about it. But you can't ask me another question about nuclear fission. Same as with Dr. Hospital that has funds that's been stolen. What was it, 2 billion rand stolen at the hospital. I can make a joke about a hospital and it'll be quite clever because I'll find out. But after that, you can't ask me anymore. So I saw Bill Burr talk about it. You know one thing about a whole lot of things. Everything. Crocodile Hunter, that spaceship that went down to the sea, and those 3 guys that paid 10 million and each died. I know a little bit about that, but I don't know enough to discuss it. So the other side of it is that we're all entrepreneurs. We're not, and we have no clue how to do it. So we know we're funny, but when we get on stage and there's an invoice and there's those things we don't know how to do, marketing, this type of stuff. So I can be funny anywhere, anytime. So when someone says to me, "What type of comedy do you do?" I just said to her, "I do the funny kind."
What you're saying, it actually resonates with the art world as well. Like the talent comes naturally. It's the admin and the business, and that fucks over a lot of artists. In fact, it's overwhelming. I get what you're saying when you got to start dishing out invoice, especially if clients don't pay. Now you got to chase for your money, and you got to put on your professional voice, and all you want to do is make art.
So all of a sudden, you're not funny anymore.
Yeah.
And when you phone and say, "How's it, man? I did the function. I painted the picture. Let's call it that. And now you promised to do this, and they go, "Oh yeah, sorry man, didn't we pay you?" You're like, "What do you mean? Yeah, you got the same bank account I've got." But I agree with you that art of negotiating and being there is sometimes what you give to an agent.
Yeah. And not all of us have agents. Yeah, it's a mission. It's tricky. It's tricky. In fact, it screws over a lot of people I know, including myself. But today is not about me. Yeah, you also mentioned something
But
interesting,
you haven't
right?
given up.
Pardon?
You haven't given up. You're still going.
No. This is what I do. So, if I'm not podcasting, I'm also trying. I also pivoted like into the tech field, try to do something there. But it's all around the art. I can't do anything else. I've tried. Okay, I'm lying. I did try, but I could have tried longer enough. But I don't like it. So fuck it.
We can't all be total fucking legends.
Not everybody, because then nobody will be one, don't you think? We can't all be the same. And I think this.
You can buy the mug at Typo.
But I dig the mug. In fact, it's a lekker prop. Yeah, you're not saying anything, but you're saying a lot.
No, but at Typo, it's got a tag on it. It's on the shelf, and it says, "This mug may contain a swear word," but they don't cover the swear word. They just tell you it might contain a swear word for the kid. This mug may contain swear words.
Well, I don't get it. Yeah, at the end of the day, you put a beverage in there. You mentioned something there, which I think is also pretty relevant. As a comedian, you gotta know a little bit about everything. I think that's also speaks also not just for visual art, but for musicians as well. You got to know your audience, as you mentioned there. Like if the audience is whispering in the or talking amongst themselves, you can pick it up and sort of adapt. Yeah, I mean, I guess it sort of leads to your type of comedy. This is personally, I prefer. I don't like the clean stuff. Where you gotta be, what is it, family friendly. I'm an adult. I drink. We all smoke. I like swear words, cussing, and stuff like that. Is that funny? Is that do you do that type of thing? You find that to be a bit more crass, a bit more real, is more funny than to be a bit more clean, or?
So the most of the time, an artist in this country, and talking about comedy, maybe even with public art, you get a brief and you're told what you can't do, which is quite weird. They go, you can't be sexist, you can't be racist, no swearing. And you know what? If they're paying you a lot of money, then I'll do it. I'll be that guy. But then I read an article years ago about people who swear correctly are more intelligent than people who don't. And I'm not just talking about saying swear words for the hell of it. I'm talking about when you use it in the right way and it comes naturally, then it's fine. That's what you do. John Flismus used to swear beautifully. It was an angry man. So I try not to swear, but the other side of it is the best comedy is when I give a piece of myself. So if I'm with my kid and he drops his Coke that I told him not to spill because he's got it there, then he spills it. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes, man. That's me. And he dropped his Coke that I said, don't spill it. So now I'm not going to lie to the audience because that's exactly what happened. I don't care that he was 6 years old, but just that kind of stuff happens. Then you must be yourself. And 90% of the comedy is going to come from just going, this happened to me today. So it's a factual story, but then with a bullshit layer. So if I watch David Attenborough and you watch David Attenborough, my view of it is different because I'm going, that's very factual. Yes, the bees do a dance. But I'm going, what happens when a man comes home drunk and he does a dance for his wife? So I transferred into comedy straight away. That's the difference.
Do you find that thing? I mean, like, does that comedy senses ever switch off? For example, like say you're driving on the highway and you see something, you pay attention, you make a sort of a visual note of it. Is it the same?
These days, I'm actually say it into my phone because if I forget about it, like I saw a thing the other day and I had to make a voice note. So on your WhatsApp, you've got your own account. So on my account on WhatsApp, it's just voice notes from me, which is really weird. But if I don't say it, then when I get home, Then I write it down. It's never going to be in my show. But just that one day that's there, you wrote it down, and then someone says something, and you're like, oh, I've got a little bit. They call it a bit. And then I've got a bit about it. But I'll never do it that night and write it. I'm an improvised comic by nature, because that's where I come from. And at the moment, when you say the thing and you can time it perfectly, that's the best type of comedy. There are comedians that do what's called crowd work, which has become a thing now. I think it's a remnant of after COVID, there was nothing to talk about because we had all gone to the same, because that's what they wanted from COVID. They wanted you all to be the same so they could control you. But then we had nothing to talk about after COVID because we were all saying the same things. Vaccines. I was stuck in my room. So the comedians started going to the crowd going, where are you from? What do you do? How was COVID? So that crowd work became a massive thing. And to me, it's kind of made people in South Africa go, can we chirp the comedian? Can we talk? We want to do crowd work. I'm like, fuck you. I've written a show. Can you just enjoy the stuff that I've done? So it doesn't switch off. There's no way I'm switching it off, even in a serious moment. Like, and that's maybe a problem if you're at the doctor or something and they go, yeah, you've got 4 months to live. I'm like, geez, must I spend I've got 6 months to pay my Edgar's account. I don't know how to do it. Edgar's will make you live another 2. If you got 4 months to live, open an Edgar's account. You'll live longer.
Because I want their fucking money. I get you. It actually works. It's actually the same for a lot of other creative. It actually makes you realize how different creative people are. Like, for example, for corporates and stuff like that, because the button, there's no off button. We see the world differently. We conceptualize the world differently. For example, like with the news. Do you do political stuff? Because that's everywhere.
I stay away from it because you can divide your audience. If I've got a male and female bias, and then I've got maybe in South Africa, big time, there's a racial bias. So you don't want to piss half your audience off by saying something. Because if you make a joke that's rough and the man laughs, the wife will nudge him, say, how can you laugh at that? If you make a joke about body parts or something, then now you've lost them both, because he's not allowed to laugh at him more because his wife hates him now. And she's not laughing. So now you've lost 50% of your audience just by saying something. So if you take politics, if you've got liberals and Democrats and sort of Republicans in America, South Africa, we don't have that anymore. But if you say something, that's your belief. If you're strong enough about it, that's fine. But you're going to also divide them now by 16 different parties. I don't know. I'll make fun of a concept, but I stay away from politics completely because I'm just too stupid to understand it, which makes me a politician.
Yeah, that's actually quite political if you want to be really critical. It's actually quite a political thing, but it's the same. Like, I feel I've got a similar thing. Like, if you talk about identity politics, whatever it is, it definitely isolates. Even if you're talking to pandering towards a certain group, it can isolate that group, and eventually it affects you financially.
And also, whatever you say will be heard by 10 people and will be interpreted by 12 people, and they'll say, this is what he said. And you're like, no, that's not what he said. Yeah, but this is what he meant when he said this. And now it's gone. It's over.
Yeah, and in today's society, if you piss off the wrong person, then your career. Is that a real struggle for comedians to?
No, I'm not. I'm not scared of the cancel culture. No, I don't go on stage and think, who am I going to piss off? Because I'm not. That's Jimmy Carr's vibe. I mean, Jimmy. He's That's his comedy. To piss you off. But everyone there knows it, which gives him a platform of like, almost like a buffer. Like he is going to go there and talk about midgets, and he's going to talk about blondes, and he's going to talk about Asians, and he's going to talk about ISIS. So there's no one safe. But in South Africa, we don't have a majorly smart audience. Does that make sense? Without offending them, they're there they want to. Like, I saw a joke. A guy came to me and said, "Hoekom doen jy nie grappies nie? Ek wil grappies hoor." So I said, bro, are you fucking 12? You want grappies? There's a joke. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you want grappies? There's fucking. So I said to him, it's a stand-up comedy, and you want grappies. I can go back to school, man. And then he hit me.
Grappies, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I
Wat is
know.
wel grappies hoor. Even the word
somebody
grappies is
else's
a
show.
joke, a small joke. You know? Grappies.
That leads me to another question. A lot of
Okay.
Trevor Noah, for example, he does these like long stories. He doesn't tell jokes per se. It's a long story and there's jokes within that. And then like you know you got up like Jimmy Carr, just last punch, you know, just jokes. What's the difference there? Do you pander between them? Is it a bit of both or?
So I grew up. Do you know Billy Connolly?
Yeah, the Scottish fella.
dude.
Yeah.
And Billy Connolly and Bill Cosby, although no one likes to talk about that. But my first records, my uncle gave me records. And this is how old I am. We'd listen to the records. So it was Billy Connolly, Bill Cosby, and Richard Pryor. I was 7 years old and listening to Richard Pryor. So when you talk about swearing,
Yeah.
I had my headphones on. My uncle, he would look. That's how he babysat me. He knows I like comedy. So now you're talking about I'm 7 years old and I'm listening to Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby, George Carlin on a record. So my mind was already out of every single 7-year-old at school that next day. And when I went to school, my mind was already on another plane, like I'd just taken acid. So if a teacher said something, I connected it straight away to something else. And essentially that's what comedy is. It's like taking a thing you didn't see and I show it to you with a sprinkle of humor. With someone like Trevor, if you're a comedian, I don't know what it's like for you. If you go to an art gallery, how do you feel looking at someone else's art? Do you go, I could have done that?
I get you.
So if I hear a story as a comedian, I can spot the punchline, like almost like a spotlight as they go. So I was there at the thing and I saw this guy with on crutches, and then I just go bing, and there's like a spotlight on there. I'm like, this is coming back. It's either a callback or it's the punchline. So you're never seeing comedians like the people in the audience just sitting there laughing because they've got day jobs. They work in accounts and they've got linear lifestyles. When I'm watching another comedian, I'm just there's a guy called Jim Jeffries. Also does long stories.
Yeah.
On the way to his punchline, he's got a colorful way of speaking. So every little thing is funny. And then he hits you with a punchline and you think, that's the punchline. Then he hits you with a callback, then another punchline. So he's a pro. So just let him do it. So a lot of the times we watching him going, this is a long story. Look, if it's a pro, it's like I did watch a comic a couple of weeks ago and he had no punchline at the end. It was just a storyteller. I said, well then go become a raconteur. That's good storytelling. But there's no comedy I love to be on the way. Like, Little Red Riding Hood picked some mushrooms and she did some stuff and she met the wolf and then they chopped the wolf's head off. You must have some stuff before we chop the head off. Do you know what I mean? What was Little Red Riding Hood's name?
Did she have a name? I don't know. Wasn't Little Red Riding Hood?
That's Comdian, right? On her birth certificate, it's Little Red Riding Hood. What is
she? That sounds like a millennial name.
It's unfair. It's so unfair on her.
Yeah. If you want to go about like what's fair and what's not fair.
And I can tell the difference between my grandmother's face and a wolf's face. So I don't think she was the smartest kid.
Yeah. As a lighty, I could never understand that. Yeah. If you can't see the difference between a wolf and then there's a problem. And you still engage with a wolf like it's a normal person and you're still talking and like like whoa, we will be fooling you. But yeah, interesting thing there about storytelling. Just another perspective on that. So I'm also a lot involved in the poetry circles. Storytelling is a big side of it. There's one or two brothers I know who's pretty good at that. It's definitely a lot. The one guy I'm thinking of now, Ubuntu, does his stuff specifically designed sort of for children. And he's brilliant at it. He's got the sound, the acoustics, and everything. And there's also one that's more for like adults. So I think it's actually quite a unique South African format. Is there is there a thing like South African comedy? And I'm talking mostly on the continent, because if I listen to cats from Nigeria,
Yeah.
not that I want to poke fun at Nigerians, but like I don't get their comedy. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
so
get it. So is there like a thing like it's African comedy versus US or whatever?
if I go overseas, I find that they are quite jarred by the roughness of our comedy, where we don't
Interesting.
stop to feel sorry for someone in the joke. We go. So I was with this guy, and two of the guys were in a wheelchair, and there was a midget there, and they're like, whoa, 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 there's too much stuff there. And you're like, just shut up, let me finish. So the roughness they're not ready for. And I think in South Africa, if you're with your buddies, we rip each other off. If I'm in the car, I remember going back in the day, like there were 6 of us in the car, you would think that we hated each other. So that's very Australian sense of because they also rip each other off. But you buds, man, you like tight. But if a guy we're picking up Brendan or we're picking up Grant, and they came out in stonewashed jeans, that was finished in the car. But I ended up getting most of that from my buddies because I was the loudest one. So I ended up getting taken down all the time. But it gave me a thick skin. So when I went to Edinburgh Festival, I've been to the States, my skin is so thick that I'm like, just let me finish the joke. I promise you, everyone at the end, they all get on. Just let me finish. And they were quite shocked at the roughness. So I think South African comedy has got a great storytelling because we come from the Tolle van der Merwe. Do you remember those story take things? Even as kids, we had Benny Bookford, who was a storyteller. So storytelling is important, and African storytelling is massive. And now you're talking 300-400 years of storytelling, and you can tell a good storyteller's got you. Their flowery language, the way they use words that you've never knew existed. Part of my anger with myself as a comedian is that I should have concentrated in English and just learned there's 7 words for a word. Choose the funniest one. You know, guava is funnier than banana.
Yeah.
Just know where the funny is. And you talk about Trevor. We used to write for him for the Trevor Noah show, and he would often say, "Can we put this word here so that I'm not wasting it in the beginning? If I say it at the beginning, I'm giving away such a nice word. Let's just not use it now. Let's use it later." So the incredible planning goes into it. But I know what you mean by the Nigerian. I know what you mean by there is an African comedy where we see someone falling down and we laugh. Essentially. Those videos, have you seen videos on YouTube? That's it. Yeah. What's a reaction video on YouTube became popular around the world where a person would fall off a bar stool or someone trips and walks into a thing. Yeah, we're all laughing our heads off. Schadenfreude, they call it in German.
Yeah. That type of thing also goes with music, with literature as well, and even to a degree, visual art or sculpture. It sounds like a similar, because I know in the art world, like your voice is the most important. Your most important thing. That's how galleries notice you. You got to do a thing in a certain style, and there's authentic South African style that comes through that. It's got a lot to do with our climate, a lot to do with our landscape, with the different cultures and so forth. Actually, there's something I wanted to ask you there. You mentioned something about English and looking at different words. Do you do Afrikaans and any other languages, or is it just the medium English?
I love Afrikaans. I think people have like a
love-hate relationship. It's a funny language. It's a really funny language.
It's incredible. I grew up in Springs, where it's an Afrikaans town. So my first 6 years of my life, I said to my mom, she goes, "David, we're English." Hey, I'm like, what? I thought we were Afrikaans. So there's so many words in Afrikaans that are way better than any English language.
Yeah, it's a funny language.
A basic thing. If I say to you, what is your loopbaan? What are you going to say in English? What's English for that?
Career.
No, it's not. Think about the word. What is your loopbaan? So a baan is a lane. And loop is to walk. So it's not your career, because I can say you're a postman or you're IT, but a loopbaan is you're in your lane and you're walking. That is you stuck there, bro. Your loopbaan. So there's like such a lekker word for that's not your career. You stuck there, bro. It's your walk lane, and you shut the fuck up and you walk. not your running lane. It's such a clever word. And there's so many of those things, and the way you say a word in Afrikaans, like I saw Casper de Vries once, he asked a guy in the audience, wat doen jy? And he said, optometrist. And then he sort of made a word about it, optometrist. And he said, he says, no, I'm a Lexcia, optometry. So he said, het jy baie pupils? He's using an English word in Afrikaans for an optometrist. And it was just like, there it is. But only in Afrikaans can you het jy baie pupils. Because I don't even know what a pupil is in Afrikaans. And he's not. So it was just, Afrikaans works better for that joke than English.
Interesting. I know with Afrikaans.
And have a third language. I mean, vernac comics in South Africa have got that extra, so Xhosa or Zulu, or they've got that extra word that they can put in, and you can see like 5 people in the audience laughing and explaining it to each other because the word was said in vernac during English. And we know enough words in Zulu to know when you liked or not. Your dog's barking.
Yeah. There's people walking across here, but the cool thing about Riverside, it sort of blocks out Dungus noise. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna make a point about Afrikaans. There's the street, the colloquial, the street, the straat Afrikaans. And that was funny. Like in primary school, we would take somebody's name. I mean, my surname Pepper. I mean, fuck, people ran with that thing. And if you say it in Afrikaans, Pepper, it sounds. It just doesn't sound clean and polished as the English version. So there's also the way you pronounce it, and say where you put a R or the E, you pronounce, you drag it or you pull it with a chi.
They call it with a hard key.
Yeah, stuff like that. That shit is funny if you think of it, man, and it's creative. It's very, very creative, I think.
Yeah, I enjoy that side of it because we have the ability to delve into the Afrikaans, where if I'm swearing at someone, I'm not swearing in English. If I'm in Holland and I say poes, I'm talking about a cat. But if I'm in the traffic in Sandton, it's a different type of poes.
Yeah.
But it's just, the word is better. But I mean, I love Afrikaans, and I don't like people who say, why do we learn Afrikaans? My son didn't want to. I said, dude, just take a poem and listen to it. And the guy paints a picture in the first line that you can almost smell the trees. And I suppose English poetry does the same, but just if you lived in South Africa and you can smell autumn coming, the dried leaves, just before it rains, there's a psychological word for it that everyone knows it's going to rain because of that pressure change and it changes the smell of the air. That's a caveman thing. Afrikaans poetry will tell you exactly.
Yeah, man, that's what I really enjoy about South African artists and our cultures, how we sort of conceptualize all our cultures. It's unique. Comedy is funny. Music is very beautiful. There's also like man, there's so much to love and enjoy about South African creativity. Which is also part of the reason why this podcast exists, is to talk and highlight stuff like that. But Dave, let's get into Comedy in the Park. The 15th of August.
The 15th of August.
Pardon?
Is it on the 15th of August?
Yeah.
It says so.
15th of August. Yeah. I think it's next week, no? Yeah, something like that.
Maybe it just comes out on Monday.
The bars open at 5 o'clock. The show starts at 7. Do you think before I ask you about the other stuff about the lineup, do you find I wouldn't say a drunk audience, but do you find an audience that got some booze behind them easier than a sober audience, or is there a difference?
I find a sober audience is much better. I think having a drink or two is nice, but drunk people have no inhibitions, so they become part of they think they are the show. And you've got to turn it around. So like, no, people haven't come to see you drunk doers. So I hate a drunk audience. And most of the time in South Africa, sadly, we have massive drinking issues. So if I do a golf day as an MC or as a comedian, I'm dealing with drunk people. they have no syllogistic reasoning, so they can't figure out a concept. So if you say, I was walking my dinosaur the other day, they go, yeah, jy het nie 'n fucking dinosaur nie. You know, so they fuck up the punchline. So it's a drunk audience is the worst thing. A drunk comedian, I would say, is also on that same line, unless that's part of their act. But it's terrible because you have no inhibitions, so you have a high sense of worth, but you have a low sense of intelligence because your brain's not working; it's shut down. So you can't get the concept. So it's just a weird thing. I don't like a drunk audience, but I say if the bar opens at 5, I'm just going to stand at the bar there and shout at people and say, "Hey, you've had enough." You know what's interesting? When I do interview, the guy says, "So Dave, tell us what time does the show start and how much are the tickets?" And then I say to him, "Bruh, I'm the comedian. I arrive at 10 to 6 and I go sit backstage. I don't pay a ticket. And when they say my name, I walk on stage. So don't ask me what time the show starts and how much the tickets are, because I've never paid for a ticket to see a comedy show that I'm in." Anyway, the show starts at 7 and the tickets are 180 rand.
Good point. Yeah, very, very good point.
Why are you asking you don't ask the Grand Prix driver how much the tickets are in the stands. He's driving the fucking car. Anyway.
I'm the person that you pay to come see. No, that's a very good point. And just for the listeners, I'll put all the details. Hey man, my stomach is packing up here.
You're dying. You're dying. So let me tell you who's on with us. Mbali's on, Hannes Brimmer, one of my good friends, Dave Levinsohn, he's fucking hilarious, and Joey Rastine. I call him an OG. The man, let me tell you about psychology of comedy. If you watch Joey Rastine and you don't learn something, then you weren't listening. Because he loves to teach you something. But he loves to teach you a thing. So if you listen to his comedy, he'll talk about when he grew up, wherever, and then he says a thing, and he's always teaching you something, which I've noticed. That's what I noticed about him. Hannes is also a well-written comedian. He writes good comedies and he performs it well. He's an actor. And Mbali's also I watched her like 3-4 years ago. From that 4 years, she's improved incredibly. She's just kicking. So that's a lekker lineup. Very nice lineup. And the Whirlwind Theater as well. To own a comedy club is not easy.
Sorry, continue.
I wouldn't do it. So I think well done to Tabitha and to Bridget and all of them for doing that.
Every week, every week there's a network issue.
Have you got some stuff for the podcast?
I do, and there's a lot. And this was really cool, man. Yes, man. This is I always find it lekker, man, to sort of get into how the creative sort of conceptualize their surroundings, how they use culture and stuff like that. It was fresh, man, especially the thing on Afrikaans. So there's some funny stuff there too. And I don't try to be funny because I'm not.
But if you're an artist and you understand how nothing works the way it does for someone else, you are essentially right-brained. So there's no most comedians are ADHD, guaranteed. Operational. They call it, you get a functioning alcoholic. Comedians are functioning ADHDs. I've seen it with a podcast with Trevor and Eugene and another comedian. They all talk over each other, and that's because they're ADHD and they're not diagnosed. But if you took it away, they wouldn't be funny.
Yeah. That is, you hit the nail on the head there. It's just that we make money off of it. In a capitalist society, everything is cool once you make money off of it.
Only on the 15th. That's why there's nothing in the kitchen. There's no food waiting to get paid.
Yeah. Just an interesting point on top of that. Like once you have like ADHD, and I'm sure I've got traces of that. Also, maybe I've got some social issues and yada, yada, yada. Once you have shit like that, and it's monetized, and there's other people that makes money off of it, that's what do they call it? A powder keg, or what's the word? But like at some point, it's going to explode at some point. And unfortunately, when it explodes, the artist gets blamed for it. That's also something I'm also quite aware of. And the worst part of it, I don't know if it's the same in comedy, but this type of shit, in fact, I drew the fucking line under this. I don't do this cock anymore. So if you go to certain galleries and yada yada yada, curators and stuff like that, they always tell you to use your pain. Take your pain and use it. Go, get from here and use your pain. That is bullshit, bro. If you keep using your fucking pain after 20 years, nah? After 20, 30 years, whoa, problem. You got social problems there. That is, and now it's a problem because now it's your income. Now what? Now,
So they,
what do you do now? It's a problem.
so if you know that artist Basquiat, Jean-Michel
Yeah,
Basquiat.
basket. Yeah,
Yeah,
the American fella.
that is exactly what you're talking about. Comes from the streets, was molested,
Mm.
the pain comes through the art. And we love to see it. So that makes our society a sadist. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So we love to
Yep.
see the pain, but we also like to see people overcome the pain. So that's the thing. So if I'm on stage and I say, I got divorced recently, I was molested at school. We want to see the pain, but we also want to see you rise above it. But if I went on stage and I say, I'm currently being molested, and it's not Lexcia.
And then they laugh.
And they laugh.
And
I haven't
they laugh.
overcome the pain yet. So the key, so if you're still in the pain, it's not going to be funny. I remember when I got divorced and I was doing comedy, the audience was scared of me because I was a misogynist, essentially, talking about how fucked up my life was. There was no overcoming. So when you overcome something, then you can talk about it. But that's a journey.
Yeah, no, it's something. This gig isn't for everybody.
So I directed a show with a guy called Kurt Skinroth. And it's so strange. We sat talking about the stuff, and he spoke about his dad and his mom and his things that happened in his life as a young colored bro growing up on the flats, and his fears of certain things. For example, he will not walk with a checkers packet from there to there. He will not do it because it symbolizes everything that was wrong with Cape Flats. He had people with a checkers packet with their clothes in for the weekend. He will not do it. And I promise you, it's a I don't know if there's a phobia, but he will not. If I walk from here to there with a checkers pack and I give it to him, say, "Here's your washing from yesterday. We're going to go here." He goes, "No, put it in the car." Such a simple thing, but it's a fear, and it reminds him of everything. He almost gets a lump in his throat. He says, "No, don't give me that checkers packet." And it's like, so I said, "Talk about that. Talk about that on stage. That's." And he goes, "No, I won't do it." So I was like, "Well, then we're stuck here now because I'm not going to direct a show that doesn't have a little bit of pain in it." But
Yeah,
he
man,
hasn't.
like.
There's your answer. He hasn't overcome it yet. It's not funny yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sometimes the artist doesn't overcome it throughout their career. Their career is defined by it, and financially you're dependent on it. And if you have kids, wife, kids, family, stuff like that, you gotta provide for your family by accessing your pain. And you gotta do that for 40 years, 50 years. I don't know, eh? I don't know. Doesn't sound sustainable to me.
No.
Yeah. I've got a very good friend. He does counseling and that type of thing for young boys or men. I've spoken once, twice about some of my pain, and even in talking about it, it didn't feel like counseling session. It felt like a brainstorming session. Because I'm like, oh shit, there was that also. Maybe if I put this and I put this, it's a brain. We're having a brainstorming session. Because I'm just thinking, my brain is wired thinking financially, and excuse me, yeah, long term that's a problem. And I've seen it throughout my career.
I've been told by other comedians, and generally when we get together, emotionally we're not mature, and possibly not mature as adults either, because you have to be slightly immature to be a comedian. You've got to have that little edge. So when someone talks about emotions or something, I do the same thing as you do. I'm like, I could put this in my comedy. I'm not thinking of a solution of being more open or being more open to how I feel and my feelings and things. I'm like, hey, this is good comedy. There's 5 minutes of comedy here, it's fun. If my brain's wired like that and I'm making money doing it, you kind of stop it. Like, I'm not getting emotional. I'm not going to tell you my stuff. And I've done it on stage before, and I've watched the audience, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm going away from comedy. I'm heading towards a therapy session. And then I'll make a joke about it. Like I'll tell them, I say, my dad left when I was 3. And he said to my mom, he's going out to buy cigarettes. So now they're like, which is true. And then I'll see the audience getting a click. And then I'll say, and it's so funny because he didn't even smoke. So something real that happened. And then I say, like the teacher says, now you guys must, if you can, take your homework books and ask your daddy to sign it. And I'll go, do you know where my dad is? So there's the pain. There's the pain, and there's the thing. That happened. That actually happened. I said to the teacher, like, I can't give it to my dad. She says, why not? I said, do you know where the fuck Oak is? Yeah, see, I'm crying now. But listen, when's the show? And we fucked up the recording.
The show is on the 15th. Like I said, I'll put this. Tomorrow I'm in the studio all day, so I've got 2 episodes, 3 I've got to do for tomorrow. I'm gonna be in the studio the whole weekend. I'm gonna be, putting all the episodes together. I'll put this out. If it's not Tuesday, it'll be on Wednesday probably. I usually premiere my stuff by 10:15 on YouTube. My thing is on YouTube. But I'll let you know via WhatsApp when it's out and all of that. And just to the listeners there, it's the 15th of August. It's Comedy in the Park. Show starts at 7 o'clock, and all the other details, price and stuff like that, I'll put in the description box below.
No man, it's fine. If you've got enough to edit, we've got the end of the show. We'll edit out when you spat your gob into the bucket there. We got it. We got it.
Yeah.
And
I'll
got the poster.
Pardon? Do I?
You got the poster. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. I have all the details. I have everything. If there's anything else, I'll just let you know. But I don't think so.
Right.
Let's cut out all the gross stuff towards the end, and I'll smooth it out.
Are you in? Where are you in PE? Where are you?
I'm in Kimberley, bro. In the Northern Cape.
Fuck.
Yep.
I met a chick on Tinder once, and she said I'm in Kimberley, and I flew to Kimberley for a pump. The most expensive pump I've ever had.
This is my hometown. I was in Joburg till COVID. COVID happened, and I couldn't. My gallery, I had a fallout with my gallery. Story of my life. And I had to move. Anyway. But my brother, I enjoyed this conversation too much, man. Like I said,
when I'm in Kimberley, I'll look up that chick and I'll find you as well. She might be dead.
All right, man. So I'll let you know when this thing goes live and all of that, man. Thanks, man. Thanks for the conversation. Thanks for coming through. It was lekker.
Send us shorts. That's where the key is. That's where the winner is.
I'll do that, my king. All right, my brother. Take care, man. Enjoy your weekend, huh?